Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 437. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. Hello and welcome to the blogcast. I am currently recording on my laptop, which is the subject of today's blog. I will tell you more about it once I read it to you. But I just thought I'd let you know that I am currently using the very tool of which I will speak shortly. And I have not been looking at the news on it for the last several hours. So that's good. So if something has happened in the last several hours, and it is very possible and probable that something could have happened in the last several hours, I would not know, which is a nice feeling. So this blog is called My Computer's New Nickname. When I first got a computer, I gave it a name. I don't remember which one came first, Bertram or Mr. Finkelstein. I believe I named my hard drive in college. It was the Stinky Cheese Drive. I don't know when I stopped naming my computers, but I think it's been a few years, at least. Then, the other day, I told my friend I was going to go check in with my digital world, and he said, "Oh, are you going to go look at your good news machine?" And I proceeded to laugh for the next 5 minutes. It was a kind of laugh crying because, as I'm sure you're aware, it's been kind of a fire hose of bad news out there in the world. And pretty much every time I turn on my computer, it's another wave of horrors. When I thought about the good news machine, I was suddenly imagining turning on a machine and seeing things that didn't make me want to throw up, but filled with good news all the time. You turn it on and good news. And look at this. Bonus! I have a mini good news machine that fits in my pocket and gives me good news wherever I go. It was not always like this. Before I had access to the internet, I used to use my computer like a glorified typewriter. It was just a tool, like my stereo or my car. I named my car too. And when I first got a computer that allowed me to connect to the web, I was filled with hope and possibility. It was like being able to go to the library from my bedroom. I could find out anything. It kind of was a good news machine. Emails were still kind of exciting then. Good news! You got a message! Even social media was kind of fun. I joined Friendster and MySpace. It was fun to connect with friends around the world to find people I thought I'd lost. Good news! Facebook was fun in the beginning. We were sending each other digital flowers, playing little trading games. Good news! Someone sent you flowers! Can you imagine feeling excited to turn on your device, log on to your social networks, and see what's going on? Instead of dread and horror, you'd feel anticipation and joy. Sounds nice. And listen, I know that I don't have to read the news or log into Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Reddit or Blue Sky. It is possible to live without these things filling my head with news. Bad news, mostly. But those places are all mixed up with good things, too. Like my friends and family. Or necessary things, like protests I should go to, or places to spread the word about my writing or my art. I do try and regulate my use of these things. But it's not easy. And now the machine is associated with the accumulation of bad news. But I have to remember that I do so much with this device that isn't bad news. It's where I type up my writing, where I edit it. It is where I record my music, where I record my podcasts. This podcast. Lots of good, not bad news happens here too, but the bad news is so bad. It's hard to approach my machine with creative inquiry or joy or whatever anymore. Ironically, in calling it a good news machine, I can kill some of the bad news vibes. I can greet it as if it were truly a good news machine rather than a bad news machine. It's not quite like the names I used to give my computer, but it is a nickname with some power. If only the power to make me laugh in the face of all the bad news. Thus far as I can tell, my friend and I are the only ones who find the good news machine as hilarious as we do. Like, I still laugh about it, obviously. I still find it hilarious every time I think about it. And yet, when I've told other people about it, or when I shared this blog post, no one was like, oh, that's hilarious. It's very possible the good news machine is only funny to me and my friend. I mean, it is. Anyway, we don't all have to love the same jokes. But it's also very possible it was a had to be there moment. Like, it just came out of the blue. It hit me hilariously. It came out of my friend's mouth without any forethought. Like, it surprised us both. And that may be part of it. I don't know. In any case, it is continuing. I do check my good news machine many times a day, where it is just chock full of good news. Yes, it is. Every day. Whee! Well, what song am I going to give you? Well, I had one in mind immediately, but I wasn't so sure about it. Then I was like, oh, maybe I'll try one of these other ones. I listened to them. They were, some of them were very good. But I am just going to go with the one that was my very first thought, which is a song called Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News from The Wiz. And I thought it was just called No Bad News. But no, it is called Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News, which is the basic crux of the song. It is... I feel like it might be my favorite song from The Wiz. I was in The Wiz in middle school, in the chorus of The Wiz. So my core memory of this song is of the high school student who sang this song and is still the Eveline in my mind. She is the formative singer of this song. I will always think of her. I don't remember her name. Might be Tanya? I don't know. I don't remember, but she will always be the originator of this song for me because she sang the heck out of it when I was in this production. I was in middle school. It was a high school production. Anyway, and I've always loved this song particularly. So, should I be singing this song? Maybe not. I would definitely never be cast in a production. And if I was, I should not do it because it would be wrong on many levels. But in this context, I feel it is okay. Maybe. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I think, this song connects to what I'm talking about with the Good News Machine. And there is a kind of industrial quality to this song. I think the idea is that, at least in the movie, that like Eveline is like a boss a little bit in like a factory kind of vibe. So I think its connection to the machine, I don't know, it's a stretch. Anyway, it just felt right because it is just the constant stream of bad news. I often wake up feeling exactly the way this song suggests. So I'm going to sing it for you in just a moment. But meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, tell someone about it. Like, review, subscribe, all of the things that you might do for another podcast, do it for this one. How about that? And if you would like to support it with money, that would be amazing. Patreon.com/Emily R. Davis is the hotspot, but there's also Ko-fi, there's PayPal. You could join on Substack as a paid subscriber. All those links are in the show notes. If you have a place that you like to support artists, let me know about it. And mostly, I thank you for listening. It is very important that you are here and receiving all this nonsense. So, is there anything else I need to tell you about Don't Nobody? Oh, I don't need to tell you anything, but I thought it was very funny that there were 2 songs from The Wiz in the Oscars last night. I wasn't watching the Oscars. I couldn't find a way to stream it, but I was kind of watching Twitter/Blue Sky, and I was like, oh no, Queen Latifah is singing a song from The Wiz. I was sure it was going to be this one, and I was like, oh no, she beat me to it by one day, but she didn't. She sang "Ease on Down the Road" instead, and it was a good time. I think she should sing this song. I think she'd be amazing. Although it is interesting. Apparently, she was in there was a 2015 version, I think, on television. Obviously, I was not paying attention, but she played the Wiz in that, which I enjoyed that choice. I mean, this song is like the only song I think that Evelyn gets, whereas I think the Wiz like gets a lot more to do. So I kind of love that she played the Wiz and not this part. Anyway, that's all a side note, and just a funny, like, oh, the Wiz is having a moment at the very moment that I'm working on a song from the Wiz. So I shall give to you now, Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News. And, sometimes you just feel this way. You just don't know more bad news, please. You got to go look at your good news machine and find some actual good news on it. That's what you got to do. Or at least that's what I got to do. You I'm sure have better ways of coping. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Here is Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News. When I wake up in the afternoon, which it pleases me to do, don't nobody bring me no bad news. 'Cause I wake up already negative and I've wired up my fuse. So don't nobody bring me no bad news. Well, if we're gonna be buddies, better bone up on the rules. 'Cause don't nobody bring me no bad news. You can be my best of friends as opposed to paying dues, but don't nobody bring me no bad news. Oh, no bad news, no bad news, no bad news, no bad news. Don't you ever bring me no bad news, 'cause I will make you an offer, child, that you cannot refuse. So don't nobody bring me no bad news. Now when you're talking to me, don't be crying the blues, 'cause don't nobody bring me no bad news. You can verbalize and vocalize, but just bring me the clues. But don't nobody bring me no bad news. Oh, no bad news, no bad news, no bad news, no bad news. Don't you ever bring me no bad news, 'cause I will make you an offer, child, that you cannot refuse. So don't nobody bring me no bad news. Bring some message in your head, or in something you can't lose. But don't you ever bring me no bad news. No bad news. If you're gonna bring me something I can use. But don't nobody bring me no bad news. I said, don't you ever bring me